so I can finish up the Ozark part 1. I think I'm on episode 4. Oh yeah, it's good already. It's already cooking. They got that batch cooking up. They cooking up the good stuff. And thank you, Mr. Carr. I appreciate what you just did right there. Now let's get into something real. Def Jam Records and Bad Boy Records was fighting over Foxy Brown, man. Somebody asked me about that. And I said, man, that brings back memories. Foxy was like 16 years old. And like people was like working with her. Like she was, she rapped like a dude. And, they was like, man, she's kind of cute. They could put her in dresses and, she was young, but she was developed for her age. So she always stayed constantly around dudes who was way older than her. So she was around like all these rappers and hustlers and, bad dudes. And when they first heard her tape, her mixtape, they thought she was Shaheem the Rugged Child. Because her voice sounded like Shaheem. Her flow was like his. So it was kind of interesting to see how that played out. I gave y'all picks to bet for the night. I gave y'all the parlay. I said take the Lightning and the money line, the Pittsburgh money line. Told you to take the Lakers +5, bet Wisconsin +3. I gave y'all that. Now, let's get back to this hip hop tip. Now, on the scale, Smooth the Hustler. Shout out to one of the best producers quietly known, DR Period. DR Period is known throughout hip-hop lore. He has produced some of the best songs. Like you heard Annie Up by M.O.P. You've heard all his work, and he's never talked about it. And it's weird to me that DR Period is never mentioned. But DR was making a lot of crazy beats back then. He was doing joints. He was working with AZ back when AZ was making his debut album. Smooth the Hustler was supposed to be on that song. More money, more murder, more homicide. He was in there writing his verse, and he was recording his own album at the same time, his debut album. They was working on his at the same time. But Smooth the Hustler couldn't get a record deal at the time when he was working with Fox. Then he went in to Def Jam and all these other record companies, the same thing. They wanted Foxy Brown, and he was the one penning most of those raps that she was doing. Now she was writing too and doing her little thing, but she needed to be polished, and he was polished. And he wrote, it came out later that they found out that Jay-Z didn't write Ain't No N-word. It was Smooth the Hustler that wrote her verse. It wasn't Jay. Yeah, that was early on. All that stuff about the firm when she break down all the stuff, breaking down the numbers and all that stuff. A lot of that came from Smooth the Hustler's pen. A lot of it was like his flow. So Def Jam basically didn't want anything to do with him being involved with the Hustler and said, "Oh, yeah, okay. You know, like, there's no market for you right now. You're a little too hardcore." You know, it was ridiculous. You know, but they was like, can you know, they wanted rhymes like Big. They want Biggie raps. So that was their thing. Can you rap like Biggie? You know, Biggie got hard raps, but he's got the dance records. He's got the radio records. So they was looking like at the Biggie level. Like, can you make rhymes like Big and do what Big doing? You from Brooklyn. You know, like... So when they heard about Foxy Brown, like, everybody was interested. When she was coming around, Def Jam at that time needed a female artist. They needed a female rap artist immediately. They had just did a new deal. They did a deal with Polygram. So now they became Def Jam Music Group. So they had Method Man, Redman. They wanted to start coming out with this whole new regime. Foxy Brown was going to be the new era. They was finna come out with a whole new lineup, but they wanted to get a female rapper. So before she was even signed, they were sticking her on features. And she was on the LL Cool J, you know, the I Shot You record. And she was in high school. They took, you know, she basically cut high school to get drove down there just so she could drop her verse on the I Shot You record. So they put on LL Cool J joint, the I Shot You joint. And she ain't even unsigned. She was like 16, 17. She did that, wasn't even signed yet. So Bad Boy Puff wanted to sign her. He wanted the female artist, and he was like, this is it. And Little Kim wasn't with him at the time. And plus, Foxy, he felt was more polished and wanted her. You know, Kim was just rugged too, but Biggie had Kim, and they already signed her with Ideas. I mean, with Undies, his record label. So Puff was like, man, I'm going to get Foxy, and that's going to work. She going to be exclusively Bad Boy. Because I can't get Kim, you know, that's big thing. And Puff didn't want to overstep no boundaries. Because he didn't think Kim was even going to amount to anything until he saw her. And saw her stage presence and said, oh, that's what I want. Big already got that. So now I'm going to try to get Foxy. And they made a bid for they made a great bid for her. They put her on Total album and everything. People was putting Foxy on there, trying to show her that they can give her the exposure, because they had Biggie. They had all the R&B stars, like, you can be on all the R&B records, you gonna get paid more. Def Jam don't have that, we got that. Work with us, we'll get you this. So they basically leveraged that to get an even stronger deal with Def Jam. So Bad Boy wasn't attached to it at the time, but they came to an understanding with Def Jam, like, you know, help us out with some of your artists, you know, like put her together. So they were gonna work together. That's how it was. Puff had no problem with that. So when they working on Little Kim's album at the time, and they was working on Foxy's joint, It took a while for Foxy Brown album to come out because one, they had to make sure Foxy was of age. She was like 17, and I think by the law she could be able to do the things that they needed her to do at that age. So when people were going to work over there, they told Smooth the Hustler, who's writing these songs, and basically her mixtape, he wrote basically, I would say 70 to 80% of her mixtape. And they wanted to sign her, but he wasn't good enough. That's just the record business. So oh, what's up, D? Yeah, so that's just the record business. So Nas was there with AZ, and they was writing More Money, More Problems, and he was working on his album that he was putting together because he had to do Glocks on Clock. Glocks on cock, fingers on the trigger, time's up, give it up, I'm that rub that nigga, Glocks on Glock. That was the only song I think DR didn't do on the album. And that song is crazy. That whole album is blazing. So Def Jam turned down Jay-Z. Jay-Z tried to get a record deal, he couldn't get one. And then they wanted him to work on Foxy's album. Like, y'all write on Foxy's album. So they was like, you did a good job, you wrote and got her hired, but you should be a writer. They told that to Smooth the Hustler. So they brought him in after he dropped his solo album, and they missed out on Brooklyn English, and they heard that joint. That joint was just knocking. That was a New York knocking track. It was just incredible song. And they was like, you wrote the whole song? He's like, yeah, I wrote the whole song. Wrote my brother's lines, wrote my lines, and wrote the song. Everything. So they was like, man, maybe we was wrong about this guy. We want to bring you in as a writer. So he was pitting for a lot of artists that they had over at Def Jam. They put him, and he got a song on the soundtrack. Trigger the Gambler got there. He got a deal, and I don't think his album ever came out, though. I don't know what happened. There was so much changes going on with Def Jam. Once Polygram bought out Def Jam and it became the music group, Russell Simmons was gone. Russ at that time was basically the face, but he had nothing to do with the business side anymore. That had come and gone. At that point, he was transitioning out of the company. They were getting ready to get Russ out the way and bring in new people because Russ was caring about Fat Farm, clothes. His whole attention to music was basically done. After anything past 93, Russ was basically transitioning out. So everything started to change again. And the reason it was starting to change is because they have figured out, oh, there's a gap. We made a huge mistake. They didn't understand that Foxy Brown was crazy. Foxy was crazy. And the delays that it took to make the album, because she was blowing up at the studio. She was at a hotel. She spit on the ladies because they didn't have iron in her room or whatever. So she spit on the lady that worked at the hotel. She got hit with lawsuits there. It was like lawsuit crazy. It was nuts. And people don't know how expensive it is to take care of a female artist. They're not like male artists. They gotta have a hairdresser. They have to have a stylist. They gotta have all these things because they have to look the part. You can't have Foxy Brown out there looking like she normally was looking, with her hair slicked to the back, wearing a big old bubble coat. You know, they had to keep her looking foxy. She was sleeping with Sprague. What are you talking about? She was one of the first people to work with Sprague. She was sleeping with Sprague. That was her man's. That's funny. She's asleep with Sprague. So that's how that deal got done. So that was no, she never slept with Nas. No, it was crazy style. Like she was wilding out, getting in fights. Like it was crazy. But she's always been that. She's always hung out in these areas where she was just crazy. But yeah, Broken Silence is her best album to date. But here's the thing, Def Jam was spending out all this money on Foxy's album. So when they did the song with Blackstreet and everything else, Gotta Get You Home Tonight and all that, that basically sold the album. So, and Jay-Z wrote the song I'll Be Good. He wrote Fox part, everything, wrote everything out. Oh yeah, Sprague definitely was in How did Kwame cut me off when he said, shouts out to Carcino? Yeah, I knew it would take a fool to come in here and say something stupid like that. I said, shouts out to Kwame Brown. He said, shouts out to Carcino. I don't know what do you even watch the videos? Gosh, people love to try to create a beef when there ain't none. I'm not beefing with Mr. Skinny. I'm not beefing with nobody. Sorry to disappoint you. Oh no. Well, you got to look at what Fox was bringing to the table. Foxy Brown was an established artist. So when you have an established artist, they bring a certain value to the table than just saying, oh, I just got some regular artist. She had already been on songs that had sold 1 million records, 500,000 records. She was a featured artist. So that was giving her the exposure. So when her album dropped, it was able to perform well. Her and Little Kim brought the sexiness to hip hop. with the female rappers. Most of the female rappers wanted to be taken seriously with their art. They came through the door like with the sexiness, and everybody was like, whoa, this is something new. So they was ushering in a new era, and they were going to be the Thelma and Louise of hip-hop. They even recorded a song, Thelma and Louise. Nobody on there dissed Tupac except for LL. That was it. Plus, it's not like everybody heard the song. Like, everybody dropped their verse and pretty much left. That was it. Like, they came in, drop a verse, and they was out. So when they hear the finished project, a lot of people still didn't know who LL was talking about until it went down. But people in LA was mad because he said in LA. So that made all the MCs in LA upset with LL. But he was talking about Pac specifically. But like he said, not this time, but next time I'ma name names. And boy, did that have Tupac hot. Boy, he was hot as fish grease, boy. LL Cool J, say what? I'll rock your mother bells. Oh man, he was mad as hell. Partially that was part of it, but mostly LL didn't like the way Tupac was coming at New York, saying anybody from New York who want to get it, you want to bring it, bring it. We ain't singing, we bringing drunk. You know, he just was coming at New York. So that's what I'm saying. He didn't, when he said anybody from New York who want to get it, bring it, bring it. And then the Source magazine, one of the magazines did an interview on Tupac. And the title said, Tupac talks about killing the East Coast and destroying the East Coast. That was like the title. And I was like, what? Back then, people read articles. So New York, everywhere in New York was hot. You know, they had a problem with him. You know, at first, you know, nobody, like, hey, that's their business. Whatever he happened, he got shot. That's with them. New York didn't care about that until the song "Hit 'Em Up" came out and all this stuff and the interviews was coming out. They were mad. So they was like, man, he blaming the whole New York. Oh, he want to make it an East Coast, West Coast, man. F Tupac, man. So that's how they felt. So that's how the attitude was. That's why he was trying to mend that, because that's not what he meant. He was just wilding out. Like, anybody from New York, you want to side with what they doing and going against me, then you want to bring it, you know, you can get rolled over too, you know. That's what he meant by it. But people misunderstood what he meant because of the way he said it. Oh no, Foxy ran into a problem because it was the second album. The second album was delayed like crazy because she had mad crazy legal problems. She was in court. She was in court. She actually got mad at the judge. She tried to headbutt the clerk who tried to cuff her because she wouldn't shut up. They was gonna put her in jail for 30 days, and that's the only thing that chilled her out. It was crazy. Foxy had these outbursts. But Puff was still, helping her out. Doing as much as he could, but then like he put her on the Bad Boy tour. On the No Way Out tour. That's when it blew up. Her and Lil Kim started fighting over the stage performance. And she saw Lil Kim came out with the bed. They had the bed come out and Lil Kim was in the bed. Foxy stole her whole set and did her set first because Foxy went before Kim. So they got into it. It's like, oh, now she gonna copy my set? It was crazy. She wanted to come out the bed. And she was like, why is Kim getting this and I'm not getting that? So, and that's because she wasn't Bad Boy. Kim at that time, Puffy had signed a deal with Big to bring over Little C's and Little Kim. He basically signed them over to Puff. They did title song. It wasn't gonna be a joint album. They just did a song called Thelma and Louise. And people kept saying they need to do an album together and call it Thelma and Louise. They had a song, Thelma and Louise. Somebody actually premiered it. Like, it's on the internet somewhere. Somebody actually premiered the song. Like, oh, the song was done. But after they had that fight on tour, the beef was on. Till Foxy Brown started sounding like Lil Kim. She started doing her ad libs. Trying to sound like Lil Kim. It was crazy. And I'm like, you don't even rap like that. That's why on the second CD, it was like on the China Doll, that album was a disaster. And the sales reflected it. But that's because she listened to marketing. Marketing screwed her all the way up. They wanted to make her like a China Doll, and they were trying to sell to the Asian market. They had her dressed up in this China Doll outfit. And they was like, oh, you like this little black China doll. And I'm like, why y'all marketing her like she's Chinese? They got her wearing a Komodo and all these Asian people up there. And they got these investors out there for the album. I mean, Def Jam totally screwed that up. They totally screwed that up. Yeah, their marketing plan was insane. They had like the superhero thing when it first came out. They had Method Man, Red Man. They were like Captain America, Iron Man, the comic book, and then Foxy Brown. She was like a superhero, like Wonder Woman. It was insane. Their marketing ideas was not bright. They had the month of the man. like, it's the month of the man. 1 week we got Method Man's gonna drop. Then right at the end of that, we got Redman, the month of the man. I would have told them, I've been like, look, burn all that. This stupid marketing y'all got. Well, yeah, that works for them because Missy was good at making those videos. I mean, this was the marketing campaign, not just a video. They marketed like the ad campaign. I bet you go online, you'll find that stuff too. Look up they advertised it was like the Def Jam All Stars, and it was like a comic book. They got Foxy Brown on there. They had Method Man, Redman, LL. They were just like superheroes. It was completely insane. It was crazy, and definitely shouldn't have been up there. Hit the like button, people. They're not sending out notifications. I don't know why. They are definitely sabotaging. So she ended up, she got into it with Lear Cohen because she started to lose her hearing and all that craziness. It was a lot of stuff going on at the time. She wasn't well. She said Lear Cohen, after they did a deal, because she had gotten basically released off Def Jam. She did Broken Silence, and then after that, she was basically off of Def Jam. Then, to top everything off, she goes from that to working out a deal with Bad Boy, with Puff. Because she got mad at Jay. Jay put Lil' Kim in that video. That, give it to me. Give me that stuff, that sweet, that nasty stuff. Just give it to me. When she saw Lil' Kim in that video with Jay-Z, Fox was pissed. Pissed. How you gonna do a video with her? And put her in the video. And you sitting up there hugged up with her? That's when she felt betrayed. Nah, Jay never smashed Kim. Yeah, she was mad at Jay over that. So that's where they falling out at. Because he put Lil' Kim on that record. I mean, well, she wasn't on the song. She's actually just in the video. And he was like, how? Knowing what she been saying about me, and you gonna throw her in a... Damn, the light just blew. Damn. I gotta fix the bar light now. That's how she's like, how you gonna say that about me? You know, what's that gonna mean for me? So she felt, disrespected. I'll be right back. Woo! Had to dream the lizard, man. The lizard. Yeah, you can donate. Hit the Cash App or the Super Chat work. Cash App, Carcino, you know that. Gotta illuminate this place. So dark. But Foxy Brown is one artist that doesn't really get anything back on her royalties. Oh my God. Her royalty checks are so small because she didn't write any of her lyrics. Like everybody else was writing for her, so she don't get any. She has like zero writing credits, and that's why it's hard for her to make a lot of money off her old albums. Yeah, this is when she came back. She did a deal with Def Jam. I mean, with Bad Boy. After she fell out with Jay and stuff, she went and did a deal with Bad Boy. And they were like managing her career, and they brokered the deal. So they had a partnership with her when she re-signed with Def Jam. So when she came back to Def Jam and re-upped the deal, she signed with Puff. So Bad Boy and Def Jam was working on her album, and she had the Ill Na Na 2, The Fever, getting ready to come out. And then she learned about her publishing rights or her masters to her deals. She saw like her contract. She didn't like what she saw. That she felt Def Jam was trying to sell her masters over to Puff, and she didn't want that at all. That's not what she was in for. Like it was some backdoor deal, and she had a miscarriage, and she blamed Leor Cohen for it. Leor Cohen dropped her from the label, effective immediately, put her album on the shelf. It's not coming out. Leor don't play. Leor Cohen does not play. He put that album on the shelf. She had, I think, Styling or something like that that came out. They put that on like a soundtrack, and her album was put on the shelf, and she was dropped, released. So Leo Cohen ended up leaving like right after that too. He left Def Jam. So when he left Def Jam, he was grooming Jay to get ready to take over. So when Jay took over, he brought Foxy back. He brought her back to the label, everything. Gave her a deal. She was going to come back. You know, he was going to bring Foxy Brown back. And she still had a name. It's better than trying to develop another female artist when you already got one. So he just brought Fox back, and all right. He did the whole president thing. Like he was sitting at the president Oval Office, had LeBron James in there. I don't even know what that was about. Like LeBron finna drop an album or something. I'm like, what the hell is LeBron James doing? Anyhow, on top of all of this, noise that was going on, they went to record some songs and it was not coming out right. Foxy's voice was all over the place. And she really couldn't hear. And was scared to let people know she couldn't hear. She just woke up one day and couldn't hear basically nothing. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, those were the good old days. Yeah, she had to have surgery to fix her hearing. She still can't hear that well. She has a hearing aid. They've improved her hearing with the surgery, but her came from like a venereal disease that she had, and it ended up affecting her hearing. Well, he had LL Cool J deal seems nice back in '87. About time you hit the 2000 era, you realize that okay, this probably wasn't a good deal. Yeah, 13 album deal? No, it's not. It's not a good deal. But when you young, I mean, he was what 17 when he signed his deal. Only thing held Foxy back was her attitude. Her attitude killed so much. If there's anybody that had the most squandered career in hip hop history, that will definitely be her. No, because they needed a female artist, and Fox was the one that they had, and they put her with the fur. But she ended up siding with Mega. Like he turned Fox, he got in Fox ear, turned Fox against Nas and AZ, and it was crazy. Ruined the whole firm, the whole layout, everything. I don't know how he gonna garden in the snow. No, Fox would be all right. I mean, she could perform or do shows off her name, but I think jail humbled her. She's a mother now. I mean, she got into it with so many female artists. It was crazy. Yeah, man, it's a very difficult thing to go through, but yeah, I see how people can get that mixed up. Yeah, she used to mess with Haitian Jack. She used to mess with a lot of people back in the day. Like she dated Spraga for a while. She was always hanging around hitters.
the cause of the problem that we're here to fight. And I won't argue with that. They are culpable. What I will tell you is that it would have been easy for Claire Shaw and her company to pay their fines and move on.
Yeah, well,
Many
you know.
they refuse to engage with the community. They refuse to admit they even made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
Let alone attempt directly.
Man, that's messed up. I gotta get out of here.
Claire Shaw
I just got a message. All right, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. And I know they're not sending out notifications. I gotta get on them and continuously try to get things fixed. You know, it is what it is.
Regional rehabilitation centers right here in the Ozarks.